Okay, thank you so much for joining us for Business and Breakfast with Trent Blizzard, talking about G Suite. Little housekeeping for the library. First of all, this is sort of the last Business and Breakfast for the season. We really wanted to help our business community by providing some much needed information during these weird times, but things have sort of settled a little bit. Our plan is to restart in the fall with our normal once a month, but if things change, we can change with it. Currently, your libraries are open 4 hours a day, Monday through Friday. We can do basic things. So if you can wirelessly print, we can make copies for you. We can find books for you, and holds are back up. Not every library is participating, but most are. Just so you know, everything does get put in quarantine. So if you return something, it does take a while for that to come off of your card. But don't worry, no fines are added because everything's a little weird right now. Summer reading has started. Please go to our website and click on the summer reading button. We have all sorts of great programs for all ages. For adults, we have a songwriting course with Let Them Roar, the local famous band. We have for teens, we have a teen con, for all those geeky teens out there. We'd love to see you for that. That's at the end of July. And then every week we have a new performer for kids. All of it's virtual. And so hopefully you'll be able to check that out. All right, so I am just going to go ahead and hand this over to Trent.
Hi, everyone. Hopefully you hear me okay, right? All right. And I've got my video on. I think we're good there. Change to, okay. So let's see, we've got about an hour to talk about G Suite today. Maybe just one or two little more housekeeping items that we can talk about. How about our kind of sponsors and the people who are supporting this whole effort that we've been able to come out in here and maybe twice a month or 4 times a month teach some business classes. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yes, thank you for reminding me, Trent. Yeah, so all of this only happens because of our awesome partnerships between the library, but also BlizzardPress, CMC, the Post Independent, the Chamber, the Glenwood Springs Chamber, and even though they aren't physically bringing us food, River Blend Coffee House.
Yeah, when we did have food, they would bring us the best coffee and snacks. It was nice. So maybe this fall we'll be back in person doing these. That would be nice. Yeah. Gosh, let's start here. Let me see here if I can jump over and do this here. Make sure you can see my screen okay. I think you can right there. I want to talk about G Suite, and I want to talk about the cloud. There's a couple of big strategic kind of things here. I think the first thing that really interests me, on this is, look, every business is really run from a computer these days. Whether you're retail or working out of your house, a service business or a traditional, say, contractor style business, one of the first things you do is you set up email, and now you have a headache for years. And anyone that knows, I see the attendees on here, you hopefully agree with me that email can be difficult. And it's funny, like people don't, I think when they start businesses, like I hear often, I get calls and like people want to talk about a website, and I'm like, well, what are you doing for a domain name and email? And they haven't really kind of got there yet. And I think in many ways, this platform is the first thing you set up when you start your business. It's very early in the game, and it might be something you want to switch to after I kind of show you how it works and the advantages and disadvantages and the price. So I think this idea of a G Suite, which is a suite of tools you use to run your business, primarily right off the bat, you have email, you have calendar, and you have file storage. Those are just 3 slam dunks that everybody needs, but there's more. There's spreadsheets. There's something like a Microsoft Word product called Google Docs, and we're going to talk about all that. And you can run your whole business off of these. So they're critical. Now, before I get into the details here, I just want to invite everybody. We got a chat going on. These are hard to teach. It's me, it's my computer in front of me. I see my video up here, and that's all I see. I don't really see you all. I'd love it if you guys would hop on the chat right here and practice that and say hi. Maybe introduce yourself. You might see there's other people on here that you know in the community. I see Patty, Rockstar in here. And I'm sure others, Marianne. John, it'd be a great time for you to hop on and have conversations with each other. If you disagree or you have a question or a comment, this next hour will go, I think, a lot better for everybody if we kind of chat our way through it and kind of interact. So I just want to encourage you all. Hi, Marianne. Good. Thanks for introducing yourselves there, and that helps me a lot. And any questions, and you can put them in the Q&A or the chat. I'll be watching the Q&A specifically for questions. The Q&A, the benefit is only I see it, or the panelist. Everyone doesn't see that. If you want to ask a question and don't want everybody to see who asked it or what the question is, that's good. But please chat. Let's talk about this idea. I think to start off, before we can understand G Suite and what it does for us, I think we need to understand the cloud and what does the cloud mean and what's not the cloud. So traditionally, if you roll back 10 years or more, you had a phone. It wasn't as smart as this, and you had a computer on your desk, and maybe you had a laptop. And this was kind of before the cloud, and everything you did was on a piece of software that you loaded onto your computer. So if you want to read your email, what do you download onto your computer to read your email? What's the software? What's the software you download to your computer to do a spreadsheet or to do a Word document? Well, it's Word. So the whole world would run with software downloaded to a computer that you would sit here at your desk and work on and save, and it would save on that computer right in front of you on a piece of hardware. And if your building burned down, you would lose everything. So backups are important. And when you would pull out your laptop, it probably isn't there. You'd be working all day on your computer, go home at night on your laptop, and gosh, that file is back on your computer. It's not up in the cloud out on the internet. So, when things are on the cloud, they are not stored locally. The files, the things you use, they're stored out somewhere else. Who knows where? It could be in Denver, or it could be in Czechoslovakia. We don't really know where it is. It's just out on the cloud. So that's the first kind of interesting thing is when you go to the cloud, now the work you do on one computer is visible on your phone immediately, and it's visible on a notebook immediately. So the first big benefit of the cloud is it allows you to switch between your devices quite effortlessly. The second big advantage of the cloud is that to access this stuff, all you use is a browser. You don't have to download any software. You can use Chrome, you can use Safari, you can use Microsoft Explorer. You go to gmail.com or wherever you go to access the cloud, and you look at things through your browser. Now, 10 years ago, the browser didn't do this stuff. You downloaded different applications for everything you did, and then you did it on your laptop, and then you did it on your phone. Now it just all runs through a browser, and you might not have anything on your computer other than a browser. Now, this has some huge benefits. Number one is you don't need a big, powerful computer for a lot of the work we do. It just runs through a browser. The Chrome laptop or the Chrome computer is a really good example of that. A very inexpensive computer. All it has is a browser on it, and it works great with everything I'm going to do today. So by using simply a browser as your main software package onto all your business applications, you can get a lot cheaper computer, and you can share it across multiple computers. The next benefit of that is if you lose a computer, it gets stolen, or it breaks, who cares? You don't actually have stuff on your computer. So for me, I'll tell people, like, I'm working on my computer here, and if I throw it out the window, I can just turn around, fire up my laptop or my wife's laptop or your laptop. I can go to a coffee shop or a library and use their computer. I log on to the browser, and I'm in exactly the same place with my laptop. So the cloud offers, if you use this idea of the cloud to run your business, a huge amount of flexibility in using different computers, a huge cost saving because you don't need high-end computers. You just need a browser, and a huge security improvement because you now don't have to really worry about backups. It's all on the cloud. So there's three pretty big benefits there for a traditional business. Now, the fourth benefit is going to be with the cloud is that you can easily scale. So, you know, Patty, I see you're on here, and you have a business. It's the High Country Gems and Minerals, and you have a computer for your business. Well, the beauty of this kind of system is if you want to add an employee and set them up with a new account, like, you don't have to hire a tech wizard. You just go into your G Suite admin panel and you add a user, give them a username and password, and now they have all this stuff ready to go. And then you, as the administrator, can change their password. You can boot them out of the system if they quit. You can reassign that to a new employee. You can have a lot of security controls on what they do and what they're able to see and not see. It works brilliantly. Now, roll it back 10 years, we were using Microsoft Outlook, we were using Microsoft Exchange, and they were very, very expensive. To kind of get this level of functionality that I'm talking about, a business had to spend a boatload of money. Now you just get it for a couple bucks a month from G Suite. Is a good example of where you get that. Another advantage, well, I'm still talking about the cloud, I guess. So any questions on the cloud and what it is, kind of when you say it's on the cloud? And that might be part of your vocabulary. Where's that file? It's on the cloud. What are you doing? I'm on the cloud. It's okay if you use that word and sound a little, be a little geeky about it, because now so many things are on the cloud. For instance, to expand this more, what other software do you use in your business? Do you use QuickBooks? And if you do you use an application you install on your computer? Or do you use the cloud and do it through your browser? I use a browser. I go to QuickBooks.com or whatever the address is, I log in, and boom, all of my QuickBooks are there. And I can give my partner or my accountant easy access to that system. It's on the cloud, and they can look at it just as easily. When I travel, I can look at my QuickBooks on any computer. So there's a lot of applications we used to install on our computer that did all these things for businesses. We don't really install them anymore. All right, so G Suite here is what we're going to talk about as an example of a cloud application or a cloud service that you could purchase. And what G Suite is it kind of started back in the days as Gmail. Google made this product called Gmail, and it was wonderful. Anybody that kind of got in early on Gmail, it's like, wow, it's fast and it searches well, and I can do it all through a browser. I don't have to download this giant Outlook BS. And then I guess Google kind of realized, well, businesses want Gmail. So they did Gmail for Business. So what that is this idea of business level is when you use Gmail as a person, it's, Trent Blizzard at gmail.com. You have a Gmail address. That's like an AOL address or a MSN address or something like that. With the business level Gmail, you can buy your own domain name, myname.com. I'm blizzardpress.com, but anyone can get a domain name. They're 15 bucks at GoDaddy. And then you can register that at Gmail and have the Gmail interface. I go to gmail.com and it becomes BlizzardPress email. And so when I go here, I'll just show you here, you can see, here's my Gmail, and it looks just like Gmail, except up at the top is my picture. And when I send emails, they come from BlizzardPress, not from Gmail. So Google started offering email for businesses. Now, traditionally, and many of you still do this, you buy your email from Microsoft or maybe GoDaddy, or probably the two top places people buy their email from. More and more buy it from Gmail. And this package, by the way, starts at $6 a month. And part of the reasons they buy it is, number one is the Gmail interface is really nice. I prefer it over Outlook. Other people like Outlook, that's fine. You can run it in a browser, not on an application. Now, Outlook now is browser friendly, and more services like that are browser friendly, but Gmail was the original browser-based email. It has really good spam controls too. I know one of the big reasons that I switch people into this system is they're like, oh, I get so much spam, it's horrible, it's awful. I have all kinds of email problems. I'm like, oh yeah, you're on like GoDaddy pop server, right, for $4 a month or something. And they're like, yeah, well, if you go to Gmail, you get really good spam protection and the Gmail interface. So what Google did next was they said, hey, now that people are using our Gmail and it's replacing Exchange for businesses, let's replace Microsoft Word with Google Docs. Let's replace Excel with Google Sheets. Let's replace PowerPoint with Google Slides, or Presenter, excuse me, Slides. I never know what, they change their names. Yeah, it's called Google Slides. And we can sell an entire business package to people at the same price of $6 a month. So that's what we're talking about here. And I'm going to start kind of looking at the individual pieces and talking about them. But as I go through the next 40 minutes, I'm going to be talking about these products and how you use them, but I'm going to be talking a lot about how you manage them as a business. And I think that's important. So let me start off by, before I jump into individual packages, let's talk about how Google sees you. And here it is right here. When you're in a browser, in the upper right-hand corner up here, you will have your picture, probably. It might just be a letter, like a T, if you haven't uploaded your picture. And it says, I am logged in now to this browser as Trent at BlizzardPress.com. It kind of flies off the screen there. And the whole idea is, once I'm logged in as that, I have access to all of my Trent at BlizzardPress stuff, including, let's bring this down here, my Gmail inbox. Now, many of you have two identities. Most of you do. Like, you have your business identity, and then you have your personal identity. And here's the secret to this. Now, this is like, I think, huge, and people don't get this. If you go into Chrome, and now the other browsers do this, you can just click on your name here and drop down and pick one of your other, we'll call them personalities, one of your other identities. Here is my personal one. So I can click that, boom. And over here on my other screen, I'm going to drag it over, a new window opened up. Here it is here. And now if you look up there, that's my personal icon in that. I'm going to show, let me see if I can make you see my, I don't know if you can see my cursor here or not. Can you guys see my cursor when I circle this? Let me know with chat if that is visible to you. Yes, okay, good. So this right here is my personal browser. Oops. Right here. And when I come in here now, I've got all my personal emails in here that are different than my business. I might have my Facebook in here, or just new open tabs. And it's interesting, this remembers all my passwords. So for my personal passwords, if I go to QuickBooks, for instance, it's not going to remember me because that's my business profile. So all my logins for my personal, and when I do personal stuff, I come over and I do it in this browser, and it has my full history. I can look up all my history of everything I've seen. It has remembers my passwords if I wanted to, and it doesn't mingle my business and my personal. So now when I'm like, oh, I need to go check my business email, I just click on this, and I come and go click on Trent at BlizzardPress. That's my business email. I recognize it because I use a different picture. Me in the red shirt is my business shirt. Me holding the mushroom, and the other one is my personal one. So I go back and forth all the time. I have two browsers open. I'm like, oh, I need to check my personal email. I go in here, and I go and I click on Trent Personal, and I go back. Oh, I want to check my business. I go in here, and I go back to business. The benefit here is that you're not mingling the two, and this browser, my business browser, remembers all of my passwords. Oh, there's Anne Marie. Look at that. You just sent me an email. I think you're watching this too. You must be multitasking. And now when I go into, for instance, Google Drive or Google Calendar, it knows who I am. It doesn't confuse me with my other identities. So when I go into Google Calendar now, I am in here as Trent Blizzard because this is my Trent Blizzard business browser. So that's the first thing. When you're using G Suite or Gmail or browsers like this, it's really good if you create two identities up here. Now, if you want to make a new one, you just come up and you click Add. And you can pick a fun little icon for yourself here initially. You can pick an ice cream cone. And then you type in the name of who you're adding. So I might have maybe I have a third business. This might be my third business email. And then I can add it. And then I can log in to Chrome. Here, and Chrome is going to remember who I am. And I don't need to go through that process right now. But that's what I do. And what I'll find is, like, if you as a client, some of my clients give me my own accounts with them. So when I click here now, I've got my third business I just added. It's not going to actually work because I didn't connect it. But I also have in here some more accounts that I can pick from. If I'm logging in on a client that has provided me with my own account through the client, I add it to this, and I can just quickly change and become that other person very, very easily. So it's a nice way to manage it. And that's a really big tip. Is if you're not using this drop down and you don't have 2 or 3 profiles set up in here, you're probably not doing it quite right. Highly recommend it. Okay. The next thing I want to point out here is this green button when you're in here and I'm logged in. It says sync is on. Now, you can turn that on or off. I leave it on. And what that means is when I go to my laptop, see these 6 tabs that are open here and all my favorites, my history, bookmarks, I guess are the same as favorite, all my little extensions that I've added. This syncs it, and all those things are over on my laptop. So when I go to my laptop, the experience is exactly the same. If I don't want them to sync, like maybe I want my laptop to be a little different when I'm logged in as Trent, I can turn the sync off and they kind of go their separate ways. But I like to leave the sync on. And if I sat down in a coffee shop and logged into Chrome as Trent at BlizzardPress.com, it would sync for a minute. And in about 1 minute, it would look exactly like I left it at my desktop computer. And I could work there. I could close it down before I leave. And when I got back to my desktop, it would have everything I did in the coffee shop. So the sync is a very powerful feature that you're going to want to either turn on or turn off depending what you need. All right. Looks like, just look down at the chat here. We're doing good. Hi, everyone. Yep, Anne Marie, attempting to multitask. All right, so that is the sync, and I showed you how to create, click out of here.
Trent, I think someone raised their hand to ask a question.
Oh, how does somebody raise their hand to ask a question?
That is a great question.
I think you just type the question into the Q&A. So you don't need to raise your hand, just type it right in there. Don't be shy. It's a good time to stop and let people ask questions if you want. And Lauren, for future reference, when you create the webinar, turning the hand on as a checkbox or not, I think you have that feature turned off right now, which is why we can't see it.
Oh, okay.
You can just ask a question. And I'll see it in here. Go ahead and do it that way. It's not really an interruption. Okay. Let me make sure I got that done what I needed to. Yeah. Now, when you go to sign up for this software package, let me just drag this over here. This is G Suite, and I just want to show you the basic G Suite is $6 a month. The business version is $12. Most people do fine with the basic. It has everything you need in it. First of all, you have your email. It has video, chat. We're going to go through these in a second. But the thing I want to point out is the real difference for most of us between these two is the amount of storage. It gives you 30 gigabytes of storage. So how much storage do you want? You might have to go from $6 to $12 if you're using a lot. I know I used this for years before I hit 30 gigabytes of storage in here. So that's the cost. Now, if you do want to, it's gsuite.google.com. If you do want to go there and log in, and you can either get started or you can administer your account there. You do have to have a domain name. So in order to have email at your domain name, at yourname.com, you do have to purchase a domain name first. I usually recommend GoDaddy, purchase through there. Don't buy any of the extra stuff they try to upsell you into. But GoDaddy is a pretty nice domain management platform. That's kind of all I use them for, but it's good. All right. So you're looking at $6 a month, and we're going to start with Gmail. So here's my Gmail, it's a fully functional email, and it's also in my phone. Again, so if I wake up in the morning and I'm sitting having a coffee and I'm going through my email and removing them, when I come over to my computer, they'll have already been removed or answered or whatever I did there. Now, in Gmail, we have a couple of things that I think are interesting. First of all, look at my inbox. When people see my screen, they kind of freak out. I don't know if you see it, what's kind of freaky in there. But what it is I use Gmail differently. And I think I use it the right way, but use it however works for you. Traditionally in Outlook, we made folders for everything, and we would store everything into folders. And after 5 years, you would have, and you know what I'm talking about, right? You would have hundreds of subfolders. And the way you kind of organized your email was you move them into folders for all the things that you needed would go into a folder, right? Well, I don't do that. I have 8,649 items in my inbox. And the reason I do that is because I have found that when I use these folders, and I actually have more. If you kind of go in here, I would put more and more in here, but I haven't used folders in a long time. Because now, if I just want to find something, I just look for it, type it in search, and the search is just killer in this. And I feel like I can locate items in here much quicker with the search than I can by going through the folders. So I don't really delete things. I mean, you can check these boxes here, and you can hit this archive button, and they kind of disappear off of your main one. I'll go ahead and close that. Okay. Go back in here. Okay. So I often just leave them in here. I clean this out. I might get rid of a few things during my day that I don't want to see anymore. You can star things and unstar them to help you locate them, and you can sort by the stars. So if you want to look at just starred items, usually I star things, so now I still got to come in here and do something with it. But I don't worry too much about organizing these. Anne Marie sent me something. I can click in here and read it, and I'm like, oh, I got to deal with that. So I star it. But there's many ways you can manage your inbox. But I don't kind of put everything into folders. So that's up to you. Whether you do that or not. Now, the next program that goes with Gmail. Maybe that's enough for now. The next one that goes that every business is going to want is going to be a calendar. Let me just click over here. Here's the calendar view, and I can look at just today. and you can scroll through months. I can look here, and again, like just today, if I want to see just what I have going on today, it's showing 2 calendars for me here. I'll go back to the week view. There we go. So I've just got my calendar here. And a couple of things with the calendar is the same idea. You can add things to it. You can add guests. You can do video conferencing. We'll talk about that in a second. It works just like, you know, an Outlook calendar, except again, it's on the cloud, so it's going to show up on all your devices. One suggestion I would make is if you use an iPhone or an Android, is you might want to download the Google Calendar app, the Google Gmail app, and any of these. All these have apps, and I have found that I can use Safari or Chrome and do all this on my phone. But if you do it in an app, especially the Google provided app, it's a much better, I think, experience. And that's why a lot of people, I think, are using their phone. They've got their Mac, iPhone email application, and they'll use that to check their Gmail. And I would encourage you to try the Gmail app. You might find it works better than another app that's just talking with Gmail. And use the calendar app as well. There's nothing really special to show with the calendar. Now, these are shared calendars within also your organization. So if you are a boss or you have employees, this makes it pretty easy for you to also see what's on their calendars, to manage their calendars, and kind of provide administrative oversight if that is indeed what's important to you. The next thing that comes from a useful standpoint with the G Suite to run your business on is going to be Google Docs. So this is Google Docs. This is meant to be like Microsoft Word. It's very similar. This is an empty document, so I can give it a, let me click in here again. I can give it a title for my document. And I can say, you know, dear Ted, this is a document. I mean, it works good. In a minute, I'm going to show you how to save this to Google Drive. We're going to look at the Drive next. But you'll see all the similar tools in here. Now, there are a few differences with this compared to a traditional Google Doc. The first one is going to be this big share thing. If you hit share, what that's going to do is allow you to get a link that anyone in my organization, BlizzardPress, can see if I copy this link. So I can be like, oh, I want to send this over to my wife. Here it is. Here's a link to this document. Or you can come in and share, and you can say, I want to add and let somebody have access to it. So I could do, you know, Anne Marie, there you are. I could share this with Anne Marie. I could say hi. I can hit send. And what this is going to do, I'm going to share outside of my organization. That's pretty cool. Is now Anne Marie gets an email, and Anne Marie also has access to this. And if Anne Marie does this right now, I'm hoping you are. I'm hoping you're still paying attention, Anne, and you can do this. Anne Marie. She can come in and edit this at the same time I'm in here. And if she does, you'll see another cursor appear in here. Hers will be like red. And she can be typing away here, and I can be typing away here. And you can have 2 or 3 people simultaneously working on a document, and it just goes perfectly. There's no problems at all with that. It also has like Word. It has version history, so I can click here and see the history. And I'm like, oh, who wrote that? I can go look and see who wrote that in my document, or if I did it. It also has comments, so I can add comments where people can, just like in Word, can comment on documents if that's what you want. It works pretty good. I like this. Let's see if this works on a Zoom meeting. File. No, sorry, it's under Tools. Tools, voice typing, and I can say, Ted, will you please come by my office later this afternoon and say hi? I have a gift for you. I will turn that off now. That's pretty cool, isn't it? That thing just perfectly translated my voice right into here. So that's a very nice little thing you can do with this too. It's voice translations. Now here's something some people have a problem with the cloud and Google Docs. What happens if you're in your car and you have your laptop and you want to edit this document and you don't have a cell phone signal? Or what if your internet goes down? What do you do? Oh, there, look, Anne-Marie just came on. There's her red A. And here, she's typing into the document, and I can see what she's doing. And it's a really good way to collaborate. Thank you, Anne-Marie. I appreciate you playing along with this. Very, very nice feature. I think it's big. I can't tell you. I use this a lot. I share documents with my clients so they can edit things and I can see what they do. I will live edit documents with people and work on them. And it's a marvelous feature. You can check a button here. Let's see, I think it's under File. And I like this one too. And I use it fairly often. Let me try to get in there. Let me see, File, and it's here, make available offline. So I like this one. It allows me, if I check it, it saves it onto my computer. And even if I lose the internet, I can keep working on it. Like, I don't know if you guys had this problem. My internet was down this morning when I got up here in Glenwood. And if I have things that are important to me, I mark them as being able to work offline. And then I know if I'm in my car or if the internet goes down, I have access to a few of my important files that I may need. For instance, I also do that with presentations in case I'm somewhere and the internet dies. It's a really nice little addition. And next time you get online, it syncs it up magically and everything gets updated everywhere when you do it that way. I mean, there's so much other stuff in here. We don't need to go through. It's like, it does everything Word does. I mean, you have to be a pretty powerful Microsoft Word user to have this not work for you. I love it, the way it works. Now, Google Drive is probably after Gmail is going to be the biggest feature set of this G Suite for you and your business. And here, I'll go over to Google Drive. Let's see, we're going to spend a few minutes there. Here it is. So I'm in my drive and I'm on the web. You can see I'm on a web address here, right? And here are all the files that I've made in my Google Drive, and it's just cloud storage. So I have, tutorials and t-shirts and taxes. You can guess what's in taxes, right? All my tax information I save into that folder. SSH, I'm not sure what that is. Social, just things I save. So for in t-shirts, I have a whole bunch of t-shirt designs that I save in here. And here they are, and you can see, actually, it's my wife, Kristen, who saved these documents originally. You can see information all about it. I can open it up right here. And it's basically cloud storage for all of your files. So here's what I do. I do not store any files on my computer. Now I have a lot of files, but if you're as a client or you as a friend, or if I create something, I don't save it into my C drive on my computer. I save it into my Google Drive, everything. And that way, if I did lose my computer, I don't lose anything. It's all in my Google Drive. And I have the big version, and I probably have several hundred gigs of stuff in here. It has a very powerful search, so it's very easy. Again, even if you're not super organized, it's usually easy to find right here in the search. I've got a lot of files with the word Theodore in them. Who would have known? Let me close that out. Now, and it works in a traditional folder format. So here's what you do next. Same as within all the kind of G Suite, it's going to allow you to share and have really good security controls. So I could say t-shirts. Maybe I want to take that and I want to share this whole folder with somebody. So I can take t-shirts, and right now, just my wife, Kristen, and I have access to it, and I could add Anne-Marie to it or an employee to it, whatever I want. And now they're going to have access to this entire folder, which, by the way, that's down here under shared with me. if you click on that, I can see the stuff that people have shared with me. That looks familiar. Mushroom class emails. No, maybe that's not what Anne Marie sent me. Versus kind of my original stuff. So you can share entire folders, or you could come into that same, let me go in here and look. And here it was t-shirts. You could take just one file and I could share just that file with somebody. So it has really nice security controls. So I can have all my entire company in here, and my taxes folder is just me, my wife, and my accountant. But with t-shirts folder, I could share it with a graphic designer in another country and not worry about the security issues. And anything I add into it, once I've shared with them, they're going to be able to see. So it makes file sharing and file collaboration super easy. I find the old way hard to go back to after I've used this, and the way I can share things with people is wonderful. Okay, let me just see if you have any questions here. Can you speak of the security of saving things to the drive versus to your computer? I think online would be less secure. Yeah, that's a great question, Rachel. And I think there's like several ways to answer that. So I'm just going to tell you what I think. I am not a security expert. So number one is I think your computer is less secure, because I have heard over the years many stories of your computer is probably more likely to get hacked than Google, because people's computers get hacked pretty regularly now. Number two is the real risk is probably not security of like a hacker. Probably the real risk is your hard drive breaking or your computer failing and you just lost an entire hard drive unless you have a backup. And then if you have a backup, let's hope it works, right? Because you've tested your backups, right? No, nobody tested backups until they need to. So I think those are two security issues. That said, when it comes to storing things on my computer and my cloud, the other thing I would say, Rachel, is, gosh, what is it you're worried about? And maybe you shouldn't put it on your computer. So for instance, passwords are the big thing, and I think you should need to be really careful with your passwords. You can put those into a password management tool. You can also maybe not put any passwords in your computer. Like me, I don't have anywhere on any digital system. I do not have my bank passwords. Anything that has a $ attached to it, bank, insurance, investments, I do not store on my computer. I have a offline method that I store passwords, and I'll just leave it at that. But I'm really uptight about that. The other stuff, I feel like my passwords are really good. I'm going to show you two-step authentication. I'm going to write that down so we make sure I show you that here as well, that I've also set up. So no, I don't worry so much about that, Rachel, but at the same time, I don't store any bank information online on my computer or in the cloud. Well, obviously my bank does, but that's a different story. Most people that get hacked, in my opinion, and have had problems, they almost have two characteristics. Number one is they don't do updates on their computer or their websites. If you don't do the updates they send you, you're setting yourself up. Excuse me. Number two is they use weak passwords. So that's the other thing, like what's your password? And it needs to be a good password so people can't kind of brute force it and guess it. Lauren, yeah, you use that at the library. It's a great way for folks across the country to work on the same project. Yeah, such a time saver for sure. So Rachel, I hope I answered your questions. If you want to follow up with that, please do. Let's see. So I was showing you in here the sharing in Google Drive. It has many of the same controls as the other items. I like, especially, I use the recent a lot. I often click on recent just so, because I know, like, oh, I've worked on this in the last week. It works well. When you put things in the trash, it saves them so you can delete things and then you can go see them in your trash if you need. Oh, look, I've used 354 gigabytes of my 1 terabyte. And I've been using this for 5-6 years at least. And I dump everything in here. One of my philosophies is it's a lot cheaper to buy storage space than it is for me to spend the time to like clean stuff up and delete it. I'm pretty organized. I know where stuff is and I know how to find it. But at the same time, I don't like tidy it up all the time. I don't delete it. I don't clean it out, just like my inbox. I store it all and I use my search to find it. And I just figure storage is growing and it's cheap. So I put everything in here. I mean, like literally anything I want to save goes into Google Drive. Now there's a few more things to show you that I think make the drive a lot more powerful. The first one is called, I think it's called Drive Stream. I can't show you because it's up on my taskbar. So I'm just going to go add a new tab here and search for it. The Google Drive Stream. Oops, I spelled stream wrong. I fixed it. So the Drive Stream is pretty cool. Here it is, deploy the Drive Stream. And they also have a sync. By the way, the other thing they'll do is back up this. You can program the Google Drive to back up whole big parts of your computer, which I don't do because I have everything in there anyways. But the Drive Stream is neat. You install it on your computer. And what it does is it updates. And so when I save something, when Kristen, let me back up. What the Drive Stream does, let me put this up here, is it allows me to put on my computer and it works for PCs and Macs, a mirror of my online drive. So it's sitting here, Google Drive, and I could go into in your case, if you're a PC, I think you use it's called Explorer, File Explorer, or Windows Explorer, and look at all your files on your computer. I don't know what this is called a Mac, but instead of using the browser over here to click through files and folders, I can actually use it right here. I can see my drive. I can go into BlizzardPress. I think, what was I in before? T-shirts. I can go into T-shirts. And here are those files right here, and they look like they're on my computer. So that makes it really nice when you want to open a file or open like this AI file, that's an Illustrator file. I can just click here and I can, if I'm in Illustrator, I can open this because it looks like it's on my computer, but it's really not. It just says it is. And you can see right here, this cloud is empty. It's not on my computer. Now, if I right click on any, I can do this with any file and with any folder. This is super cool. I can do Drive Stream, and I can make some of these files available offline. Just like with the dock, I'll click that. And now it's going to sync, and up in my taskbar up on my computer, it's like working, and it saves a copy of this on my computer. So for really important files, I go in and I check this, and you can do it at the, like say I want to do taxes. I can make this entire folder stored on my computer as well, offline, which is, maybe nice for some of your critical files if you're kind of worried how to do that. I do that with a few of my important files, and you can do it, and it's computer by computer. So this saves us on my computer right here. It's not going to do it on my laptop. If I go to my laptop, I can do the same thing. So I can pick and choose which files go on which computer, and that's called the Google Drive Stream, I think it's called. And so when Kristen, my wife, is sitting at her computer, that's it behind me, and she saves something onto the drive in one of our shared folders, over on my computer, this little thing at the top spins for about 1 second, and it syncs it, and that will magically appear down here in my computer, right here on the Google Drive. And I'll see it within, it takes about 30 seconds maybe for her to upload something. If she uploads 100 files, it might take 5 minutes. And if I've marked them as sync offline, now there's actually a copy of those files on my computer if I do that. Now I've kind of backed off of that because you check a couple of those boxes and then you have 100 terabytes of, well, I guess I don't have 100 terabytes, 100 gigabytes on your computer. So I don't use the offline extensively, but there are a few files that I know when I need access to them, I need them right now. Or I want to work on them when there's no internet. I don't know how, it's hard to be worked on when there's no internet though. So the other neat thing in here is you can also then take these drives and save them right into here, these folders. So I use the client folder a lot. So I've made it a subfolder right here in my Explorer. So I can deep right down into it pretty quick. It works well. Now, Patty's asking a great question about how do you begin using this. So let me show you that. Give me a second here, Patty. You go to begin using this, you look for G Suite. I look for G Suite, and then there's the address, gsuite.google.com. So we'll go there. And you can get started. You need to have a domain name. That's the only thing you really need, and a credit card to set this up. Now, I'd be happy to help you out, Patty. This is not I don't want to be a sales pitch. I do this for my clients pretty regularly. It takes me, I figure, an hour to set you and an employee up. And then I tell people we should probably plan on an hour of training. I'll walk you through it. So I set these up for a lot of people. It's not really my core expertise, but I've done it enough that I tell people with kind of about 2 hours work, I can get you set up and provide you some training and get you started on it if it helps. So, but here it is, G Suite, get started. You can also, there's a lot of videos online if that helps you and you want to do it yourself. It's really not hard, but then again, I do this for a living, so I don't think it's hard. You know, you probably don't think it's hard to look at a rock and know what it is, and I wouldn't know what kind of rock that is. Anyways, so that's what I do. So hopefully I got that answered for you, Patty. I'm gonna mark that one down as answered. Okay, if I didn't, Patty, let me know if I can answer that with any more depth, because I love the questions. It's hard to talk nonstop without feedback from you all. So that was the Google Drive. I showed you the Drive stream, which gives you the sync into your computer and makes your drive feel like it's a standard drive there, a standard folder on your computer, and then you can just save anything into it and it automatically just goes up to the cloud as you do it, and it works great. So now what this really means is the drive, the cloud, is totally seamless on your computer. It feels like it's local. It feels like you're just in your C drive or whatever it is, you're on a PC or on your Mac. It feels like you're working locally, yet it's really all the work is being done out on the cloud to store it. All right. Let me just see if there was another. So I was going to show you, before I move on to the next piece of this, the security settings that you're going to want. Now you can control this in the G Suite admin. So as an administrator of my account, I can make my employees, I can force this on them. But if you come in here and you go to, let's see, I think it's here. It's one of these, passwords, payment, it's a settings. Oh, there, manage your Google account. And if you go to data, no, security, you're gonna wanna turn on, and Rachel, this is for you too. This is the best thing you can do, is turn on the two-step verification, which is going to require, when I log in at a coffee shop, I got to have my phone with me. It's going to ding me on my phone and say, hey, is that you? Do you want to be able to log on? There are ways around that, but ultimately, if I don't have my phone, it's difficult for me to get on to this because I've set it up that way, and I like that security. It does allow me, there's several reset ways I can do a workaround. There's other ways to up your security, but here you're going to want to make sure, and Rachel and Patty, this is for everyone, man, make sure your recovery phone is accurate, and your recovery email should be a personal email or something different. You can't recover your email with your own email. So setting up these two recovery phone and emails are critical. And if you don't do this, you are going to suffer someday, 3 years from now, when you can't get your password, you can't get your password, and you will never get it again. This also will show you who is on your computer and where they've logged in, which is pretty nice. So if you ever have any question like, oh, what's going on? Has somebody been in my account? This will show you what devices and where they were if anybody has been accessing your account. So that's a nice little security thing there for you as well. Good. So I addressed that. Now, looking at the big picture of like what else do you get for your $6 a month, You also get something called Google Sheets. That's right here. These are spreadsheets. So, you know, they just look maybe like this. Spreadsheets, same as Google Docs. We can collaborate on these. They work just like spreadsheets. You can do pretty much anything you can do in Excel, you're going to be able to do on that sheet. It works really well. Let's see, the other product we're going to look at here. Let me just pull this up. Okay, so slides, if you do presentations, that's what this is over here. It's a PowerPoint replacement. Let me see if I can get this.
Entonces, para hacer presentaciones, este es un buen reemplazo de PowerPoint.
Oh, I'm hearing a little talk in there. Let's see, did I get?
Vamos a hablar de esto.
I'm hearing the Spanish version now over my speaker.
Estoy escuchando ahora la...
Sorry, I just wasn't on it when it came to switching the interpreters, but we should be good.
Okay. Thank you. This is a PowerPoint replacement. It works the same idea here. Let me just exit that. And it works, this is just a one slide PowerPoint, but it works exactly like all the others, the same settings, but it's PowerPoint. So if you want to make presentations, you can make it right there. Now there's a few tools I don't use very extensively. One is going to be this Google Keep, which is kind of cool. Google Keep is shared notes. So if you have like lists and notes and to-dos, you can keep them here in this thing called Keep. I use something different for myself. I don't use this, but it is a nice way that you can also collaborate on with multiple people to build lists. They also have a Google chat messaging that you can use to chat with your team back and forth. So if you like to kind of chat instead of maybe email or call, that's a nice function. I would encourage those of you that have not tried it, you might find, especially if you're working with a team of people, that a chat is the way to go. Usually when you're working with somebody, you're on your like 12th email back and forth. You're kind of like, maybe we should be on a chat instead where we can just talk back and forth instead of sending emails back and forth. So it comes with that. It also comes with a thing called Google Meet. Which we're on Zoom right now, but Google has a competing product that is really good and has gotten a lot better, especially since I think they've been working on it at full speed since COVID hit. They saw everybody using Zoom. Google Meet is a really nice product for video and meetings and kind of video conferencing. You don't need to use Zoom. We use it, a lot of us, it's wonderful. But you don't need to. You can just run it off of Meet and really do, I think, all the same things as you can in Google Zoom Zoom for most of us. So that is also a really stellar product that comes with this product, this suite. Now, here's just to show you, here's the list of all the other stuff it does. And it goes on and on. There's a lot of other apps, even the ones that if you click in here, there's crazy amounts of other little things they offer that I don't really use. But they're there if you think you want them. I think it's more the Drive and the Gmail and the Google Docs and the Google Sheets are the 4 killer apps that really every business needs. Now, if you use Microsoft Word or or Excel spreadsheets, and you're switching into this, what you're going to want to do is move all your Word documents and all your spreadsheets into your Drive, and you can then open them and work on them in the Google product. So the Google product does a pretty good job of converting your old WordPress documents and spreadsheets into this new system if you want. Likewise, you can export any of these into a Word document. So if you're using like this Google Doc here, you can go File, Download, and you can turn it into a Word document if you prefer. The biggest, I think, if you're going to switch, So those are the two things. You got to move your files into the drive. The other thing you got to pay attention to if you switch is your old emails. So, and that's something I can't really address here because different people have different needs. But one thing you may want to do, especially if you're a business and you're switching into Gmail, say I have 3 years of email. I want to import all that into my new Google Suite system. So when I launch it, I have a full record, full history of all my old emails and contacts and all that. You'll probably want to just do a search. How do I import into G Suite or into Gmail email addresses and emails? And you can, it just takes a little bit of work. And depending what I can't answer it because depending if you're at GoDaddy or Microsoft or Exchange, there's different ways that we do that import export to bring them in. If you decide I want to start clean and not bring in everything, it's a lot easier, frankly. You just turn it on and you go. You don't have to import stuff. So Patty, that's also for you. If you're going to try to start this up, probably that's a question you have to answer is do I need to bring all my old emails in? Do I want them in here or am I starting something fresh? Everybody has a different answer for that. So that's probably one of the major considerations. Let me just make sure. Oh, I have another question over here. I was not looking. Oh yeah, Vicky, do you use GMass? Yes. If so, do you like it? No, I love it. Gosh, GMass is a really cool email tool add-on. So this is it's kind of a good question. Oh, you use it too. Nice. You can do these things called extensions and add-ons, and there's a whole marketplace for that. I had it open. It's called the G Suite Marketplace. But you can add a whole lot of extra functionality. I guess I don't have it open anymore. You can add a whole bunch of functionality. GMass is one that I use, and I've been looking at it as a MailChimp email replacement. That's this button right here. It allows me to send, basically I load all the people I want to send an email to into a Google Sheet, and GMass will connect my Gmail to the sheet and send emails to all the people, basically email marketing, through my Gmail 100 at a time. And it does a few other cool things. Notably, I like it tells me if they opened them or not, and I can send follow-ups to the same people if they did or didn't open them. It's really nice, GMass. It's pretty cool. All right, let's see what else we got here. I think we're there. Vicky, yeah, you like it a lot, better than Constant Contact or MailChimp. I'm still trying it out, but I'm inclined to agree that GMass is pretty awesome. The secret reason, by the way, if you guys are listening to this and thinking about, maybe I'll use it for my email marketing. The best thing about GMass, and the reason I really got it, was the open rate is significantly higher. And I don't have too many customers listening to this, but I will send it through and you'll get an email from me. You don't know it, it's my email marketing system going through my personal inbox to send out my messages. So I don't send 30,000, but I have if I have 100 people that are really important, like customers, I like to use GMass because I find 60 of them will open my email. And if I send via MailChimp, only 25 will open my email, or maybe even get it, I don't know. So it works really well. I'm a big fan at this point, but I've only been using it for 6 weeks, Vicki. All right, I think we're good here. Do we have any questions to wrap up here with this? Again, if, oh, that didn't work. Again, if you want to email me, I'm happy to try to help you with this stuff. Here's my email address. I think we're doing good at wrapping up here in about an hour. Vicky says the only thing she can't do is make emails look prettier. Yeah, it's not a visual email composer. They go out as straight text. Vicky, I will tell you though, I think ugly emails do better. I think when you send a pretty newsletter with a lot of graphics, people are like, newsletter, delete. But when you send it, I like to say like, Dear Vicky, right in mine, right at the top. Hey, I was thinking about so-and-so, and you don't know them. That's how I email market, because I find I get a higher open rate when I just send them as normal looking emails. Although I know you like them to look great. I know how you roll. All right. Anything else? Any other questions before we wrap up here, guys? Lauren, what do you think? Are we good? All right. Thumbs up. I hope you guys all tried this out, and hopefully this was a good introduction to you to not just G Suite, but the cloud and some of the things it can do for you, especially as a business, to collaborate between your devices, but also collaborate with multiple people and make all that work very seamlessly in a high security and low risk situation. That was my goal today. All right, you're welcome. All right, let's end this one. I'll let you do that.
Sorry, what were you saying?
I said, let's end this. I'll let you do that.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Trent. We really appreciate it. And I hope everyone has a good rest of their day.
Happy Tuesday. Bye-bye.